All right, let's dive into an ancient fable today. But listen, we're not just telling a simple children's story here. We're actually dissecting a masterclass in strategy. We're going to look at Aesop's The Cock, the Dog, and the Fox and figure out how it reveals this timeless lesson in turning what should have been a fatal mistake into a total victory. And this whole story really boils down to one powerful question. Can your greatest vulnerability, that habit you just can't shake, that one mistake you keep making, can that actually become your greatest weapon? It sounds like a total paradox, right? But as you're about to see, the answer is a huge yes, but only if you have the right strategy. And this fable, it just illustrates it perfectly. It's like a little case study showing how a smart alliance, where one person's cleverness perfectly matches another's strength, can flip the script. It can take a moment of accidental exposure and turn it into a perfectly laid trap for an enemy who's way too sure of themselves. So let's get into the story itself. And remember, this isn't just about animals talking in the woods. This is all about the dance between wit, strength, and the kind of danger you run into when you step outside your comfort zone. Okay, so our story kicks off with two friends who couldn't be more different, a cock and a dog. They decide they've had enough of the farmyard, the safe, predictable life. They want to see the world. And by making that one choice to step out of their secure world and into a dangerous one, well, they change their fate completely. So as night starts to fall, they find shelter in a big hollow tree. Now pay attention to the setup here, because it's really important. The dog is hidden, safe inside the tree, while the cock is perched up on a branch above, totally exposed. These positions are going to be absolutely crucial for what happens next. And here it is, the big mistake. The sun comes up, and the cock, just running on pure ancient instinct, totally forgets he's in the middle of a dangerous forest. He just lets out this massive, loud crow. It's just an old habit, right? But an old habit in a brand new, hostile place. And of course, that sound immediately alerts a predator. And who shows up? A fox. But notice his approach. He's not just charging in. Oh no, he's smooth, he's polite, he's flattering, super charming. He thinks he's found an easy breakfast and is totally in control. And that one assumption, that's going to be his downfall. But the cock doesn't panic, not for a second. He uses his quick wit to completely turn the tables. He just plays right along with the fox's polite little game, inventing a porter at the door of his house. It's a brilliant lie, and it's designed to use the fox's own greed and his formal manners against him. And boom, the trap is sprung. The fox, completely unsuspecting, totally blinded by the thought of an easy meal, he just follows the instructions. He walks right up to the door at the bottom of the tree, and in an instant, the hidden strength, the dog, leaps out and seizes him. The vulnerability became the bait, and the bait led right to the trap. What a swift and brutal ending, huh? But how on earth did it work so perfectly? Let's break this whole thing down. Let's deconstruct this incredibly cunning plan and really look at the roles each character played in this little strategic alliance. If we really break it down, what we see is a perfectly balanced team. You got the cock with his quick wit, acting as the planner and the bait. Then you have the dog with his hidden strength. He's the trap, he's the guardian. And the fox? Well, his own greedy, opportunistic nature makes him the absolute perfect target, super easy to manipulate. It's that 1-2 punch of wit and strength that makes this whole thing work. The cock's response wasn't just luck. It was a lightning-fast 4-step strategy. First, he immediately assessed the threat. Then, he came up with a lie that exploited the fox's own assumptions. Third, he used flattery to lower the fox's guard. And finally, he lured him straight into the trap. Just a brilliant counter-ambush, all cooked up in a matter of seconds. So why does a fable that's like 2,500 years old even matter today? Well, because this cock and dog dynamic is a seriously powerful strategic model that we see playing out all around us, all the time. Let's take a look at how this ancient wisdom applies to some very modern problems. Okay, think about a phone scammer. You're on the phone, they've got you off balance, you're the cock in that moment. But instead of panicking, you use a prepared line, something like, "Hold on, let me get my financial advisor on the line." That person is your porter. Maybe it's a friend listening in, ready to report the number. You're using the scammer's own greed against them. Or think about a situation at work. A junior colleague, our cock, makes a public mistake. Maybe they post something they shouldn't have. A savvy, more experienced colleague, the dog, doesn't blame them. Instead, they jump in with quick instructions on how to handle it, basically directing all the trouble toward their own strengths in communication and damage control.
And in the business world, this gets really sophisticated. They use this concept in cybersecurity. A honeypot is the perfect example. A company finds a weak spot in their system. That's the cock's crow. But instead of just fixing it, they use it as bait. They lure the hackers, the fox, into a fake system where the security team, the dog, is just waiting to trap and trace them.
So as we start to wrap this up, the ultimate lesson here is really two things. You got to be vigilant about your habits, but you also have to understand the incredible power of a strategic alliance. It's really about having your own hidden friend ready to jump in when you need them. So, what are the big takeaways here? Well, we've seen that a hidden friend can be your best defense. We learned that while habit can be really dangerous, quick thinking can literally save your life. And remember, a predator's own arrogance and greed are your greatest strategic weapons. And finally, always make sure you have a porter guarding your door. So here it is, the most important point of all. This fable isn't just about being clever or being strong. It's about building alliances where different skills come together to create a defense that is basically unbreakable. It's about choosing your partners, your friends, your companions wisely so that their strengths perfectly cover your weaknesses. And that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. In your own life, when your own habits might put you at risk, who is the porter guarding your door?